good evening. Another episode of the Orcs Den. Brought to you more, again, of another serious kind of topic more. Less of a how-to, more of a discussion on something I think's pretty important, which is the mental side and the mental game of bodybuilding and losing weight and the overall aspect of body image. Now, stick with me here. I know right now you're probably thinking, who's this twat to talk about shit like this? Give us the 5 tips how to and fuck off kind of thing. But stick with me. I think I may be able to present in an elegant way 2 potential antidotes that one may approach or adapt in their mental thinking that may fix this problem. Now, when we talk about the mental game, it is true, especially in bodybuilding more and in losing weight, it is a fucking mental game. I mean, the whole thing's arguably a mental game. And what we mean by that is the image of how you see yourself. So you could go into body dysmorphia. You could even talk about how food, the idea of, the pressures that go on your body when you're dieting down and cutting, the food, the things you have to do, getting up, your body waking yourself up in the middle of the night because you're hungry, starving yourself of calories and trying to train optimally, all that kind of thing. But what we kind of want to talk about more here is essentially the mental aspect, the mental game of how you see yourself and perceive yourself. I was talking to one of my good friends. He is a natural bodybuilder, very good at it, knows his shit, on a multitude of fitness-related, physiology-related, just an all-round great guy and very knowledgeable. I'll link his Instagram up. You can check him out. He's a coach as well. And Sam and I were talking about, we're currently both dieting and cutting. Sam's preparing for a contest, so she can prep. And we got talking about the idea of the mental game, how you see yourself. Last Friday I came back from the gym and it was a good gym session. But I looked at myself, I tried to take some progress pics. And fuck me, did I hate I hated what I saw in that. I hated what I saw in the mirror. I hated what I seen in the photos. I didn't have that outside perspective to go, well, Carl, you've come a long way from being 17 stone or so. Right now, but I'm still living in the present. I'm still living right now, and what I perceive my body should look like, or what I wanted to look like. And that fucking run me down, man. That ran me down to the ground. I remember that whole night, I was just down in the dumps. And I thought, what's the point of me wasting time in this? I mean, what's the point of me wasting hours of my weekdays, cooking, preparing meals, eating the boring meals, training your ass off, driving, spending the fuel to go to the... It's strictly going, what's this going to get me? What's the point? Now, I had to remind myself going, actually, the reason why, Carl, is because you fucking love it. You love the feeling of it. That's why. But there was also obviously something else there. And, the next day I got a bit more perspective. Some days you like to look at yourself, some days you don't. But especially when it comes to dieting and cutting, and Sam was the exact same, you're your own worst critic. And that is, there's no truer words than that. You are your worst own critic, and everyone sees you in a completely different light than what you see yourself. And it doesn't matter the progress you make, you look at yourself and go, fuck, that does not look the way I want it to look. Now, multitude of reasons. You could talk about how you compare yourself with others, how it's body dysmorphia, but there is an aspect somewhere of all that fitting in. But it's what I want to present is 3 things here. I want to talk about the 3 traps people fall into. So the 3 things that people most commonly fall into when it comes to the mental game and getting themselves warped around it. And then talk about 2 telltale signs of someone that is in one of these traps and starting to be affected by it, and then 2 possible antidotes to how to fix yourself from it. Okay, so the 3 traps. The most obvious one right now, in which you may start to warp your head into a depressed mental zone of how you look. Well, let's talk about the phases. There's 3 phases, right? So if it comes to weight loss, there's always the phase that you start with is losing the weight. You feel great. You look great. People comment on it. You're feeling on your A game. Halfway through that, you realise that your weight loss is slowing down. What you did before to achieve your original weight loss isn't quite working. You need to up the ante a wee bit. And then that's when the head starts to play a trick. You're not as happy as what you were because you're judging yourself on the now, not the present. And then that can manifest its ugly head. Maybe your goals slight to change. Maybe you want more muscle now. It wasn't just weight loss. The goalpost has moved. Well, that's good. The goalpost has moved. And now it's become a more vicious game of, I want to look in a certain way. I want to give myself a certain physique. Which physiques can take years to really get to that point. But that's when it comes to vicious game, because if you're not getting it in the time frame you wanted, or it doesn't look like one of your role models that you've compared yourself off, shit gets hard after that point, and that's when the mental game kicks in. You look at yourself going, why do I not look like X? Why don't I look like Y? Why can I not get delts like this? Why can I not get the chest like this? Why am I not slim around the waist like the others are? And that's when the mental game puts into. So the first trap of that people fall into is social media. Guys, scrolling through Instagram just for 10 minutes, you'll see about 1,000 people that look 1,000 times better than you. Perfect lighting, perfect bodies. Looks like they have the perfect life, right? And the nature of the beast is going to be people better out there than you. Now, also a brief understanding of how, abs and shredded and thin waist look like. It's some of it's genetics. A lot of it's drugs as well. A lot of people take drugs that you may not take. But also a lot of it is preparing for that. Bodybuilders and fitness models do not look shredded with wet, veiny abs all year round. It's only usually for a few weeks during prep. You need to prep yourself to get there. Most Instagram people get to that point, they water fast, they do all sorts to get to that point, and they take a multitude of different videos and they post it over the period of months to make themselves look like, you've woke up like that. But no, regardless, it's still a trap because it depresses you. You go, why don't I look like that? Especially if you're putting a lot of work in, it's like, well, what have I done to not get that? So that's trap 1. Trap 2 would be the realization, especially if you're a competitive person and a bodybuilder that's so hurt, the realization that somebody else out there is going to be better than you. And also the realization that hundreds, thousands, millions out there are way better than what you are looking right now. And that. If you're competitive, that's an annoying one. Because especially when the goals start to manifest into competition physique, sort of muscle building, let's be fair, we all want to look a bit better than the other person. We all want to compete in our own way. And knowing that there's people out there who's better than us, we don't know the same story, the full story they have. They could have lucky genetics. Again, they could take drugs. They could be at it much longer than what you are. Or they could just be working much harder than what you are. And that's a realization you need to accept. Fuck. I mean, fuck, man, that is something that you need to get your head around. And the mental game, in terms of fixing that, there's no way to fix that. I'm not a psychologist, and psychologists and life coaches and, the ones in social media influencers, I'm not going to be able to fix that with a few shitty quotes. It's up to you to somehow come to peace and somehow obstacle around that factor and find something that works for you. So that's 2 traps already. The third trap would also present itself in a way of not being happy with what your genetic makeup has given you. Maybe there's areas you want to grow much more, you want to be more defined, you want to feel more comfortable looking, showing, and maybe genetically you're not as gifted there as others. And that's a trap to fall into in such a way that it will run you down. It will mentally challenge you in so many ways because, again, you'll just keep comparing. Now, I can give you, the most common antidotes people talk about is, well, don't compare yourself to others. Compare yourself to how you were yesterday. that is definitely a great solution, but it's sometimes just not realistic. You know, we live in a fucking sphere, a connected web of social media now, that that's just not possible. Now, what are two telltale signs of someone that's fallen into these categories when they start going through the mental game? The first thing I've noticed, and this happens especially with people wanting to lose weight, is body positivity. Sharing photos of people that maybe have curvy or is a bit bigger and fatter, and being proud of it and showing pride. Showing it doesn't matter what way you look. It's all about being positive and taking pride in the body you have right now. I'm not a big fan of body positivity. I get the message behind it and I get what people are trying to do. You're trying to make people feel a lot more comfortable. But someone that has maybe excessive weight, ideally it's harsh, but then it may suit them to feel uncomfortable because your health's at risk. I don't care what your health is at risk. Is it really suitable to tell someone like that it's fine? And also, you don't take pride in things you're born with. You take pride in things you earn. Now, how does this come about? A lot of time, body positivity comes about in two ways. Usually someone who's tried a lot of diets and it hasn't worked. And they've been trying for months and months and months. Eventually, when they fail, they think, it's not working for me, or I'm not strong enough mentally. And then the next stage they go to is, fuck it, I'll accept who I am. And I'll try to convince other people to do it. Now, most people don't give a shit anyway. You know, you've perceived that in your head. But you yourself will go out there and try to convince other people because it hasn't worked for you. So therefore you think, you know, I don't need the body. I don't need to lose weight. It's not me that's the problem. It's everyone else is the problem. It's society. Therefore you want to then advertise how proud I am of the body I have. You shouldn't be proud because you did nothing for it. You allowed the modern society and the modern pleasures and gluttony of society to take its course on you. None to be really proud of. I don't say you shouldn't feel bad about yourself because it succumbs to everyone. You know, I don't want you to feel mentally depressed, but I certainly wouldn't take pride in it. When I was 16, 17, I didn't take pride in it. I just didn't know how to do something about it. Most people didn't care either way. But I knew myself, I can't take pride in something. I literally chase expedient things and pleasures. Why would I take pride in that? That was easy as fuck to do. That's a telltale sign. And then the fallback, the second telltale sign from that is when you start to see people cutting back. So they're not doing as much. They're not eating the same way. You know, they're not training as much. You know, they're not prepping as much. They're not focusing on their diet as much. And then those two things, the body positivity and the cutting back, eventually lead to you going splatting, quitting, finito. And then next year, going back in the cycle again, trying it again. They're the two telltale signs. Now, the main thing of all this is the antidotes. What I will say is about bodybuilding and cutting right now, you know, the whole sphere of people that's physique competing, if this is something you want to do, right, there's two ways to look at this, I think. If you want to give this your all, and you're going to succumb to the mental game, you better be fucking prepared. You better know one thing. You better know that you're good enough for it. You better know genetically you're fucking there. And if you're going to lay all your cards on the table and do this, you need to think, I'm going to fucking go for this. And I'm comfortable to know enough that if I put myself into it, there's potential I can make at least top 5. Or at least a dent in my local area. At least. I'm not saying best in the world. At least some sort of competition that you're going to be able to compete in the first place. And even have a chance of winning. If you're fucking hungry for it. Because if you're unsure about that, you could be wasting a lot of fucking time, man, into this. A lot of time and a lot of unnecessary mental gymnastics in your mind for something that realistically, a couple of years down the line, you're going to go, I was never actually good enough in the first place. And I don't enjoy depriving myself of foods and training my ass off. I'm going to stop. Now, if you enjoy it, that's not a problem. But if it's something that you just want to win, man, fuck, I don't know if it's worth it. I don't know if it's worth it. Certainly worth it to keep healthy, but so the other side of it is so you don't fall into the mental trade. What I think is helpful is have backups, have other hobbies, other skills, other talents that you can rely on to say, yes, do you know what? I'm averagely good, or I'm pretty good at this bodybuilding, or I'm pretty good at looking a certain way the way I want to, but I'm also very good at playing instruments, or I'm also very good at plumbing, or joinery, or writing, or drawing, or something you can fall back on to say to people, listen, I'm a bit more multifaceted. I have a multitude of different attributes that I can show to people. If someone's willing to put all the eggs in this basket into the game of physique and bodybuilding, a lot of people do it, and when you talk to them, they have nothing else going for them. Personality's sometimes not 100% there. They don't have any other interests. This is it. And then when you get to a very older age, what can you really pass on? Do your offspring and teach other people, you know? If that's all you had, you know, it doesn't really sort of develop your character too much. Have other things to fall back on. That's really important. Because if you don't get to the top of this, at least you go, fuck, well, you know what, at least, you know, what I always look at is your outside circles and your families. It doesn't matter if you can't be exactly 100% the best. In your circle, you're going to be the best to someone. You know, if it comes to your mum and dad or whatever, or your girlfriend, your auntie and uncles. For example, in bodybuilding, physique building, you're probably the only one in your family that's maybe pursuing something like this. As soon as someone ever thinks about fitness or body, they'll think of you. They'll think you're the best at it because they don't know anyone else. So in their world, you're the best at it. Same thing with a trade of an instrument, or if you're good at plumbing or good at DIY. You're always the first people that your immediate circle of friends or family think of. That's amazing, because in their world, you're the best at it. Or as far as they only know, because you're the only equation when they think about the topic that comes into their head. That's pretty massive. So this takes me on to the two antidotes. How could you cure this? If right now you're feeling down, you're looking at your body and going, I am nowhere near, I'm doing everything in my power and it's not fucking working. It's not working. Why do I look like this? I look shit. The one thing I do, if I feel like that one night, I cannot help you. No one can help you. You will need to take it in the chin. See how you feel in the morning. If you still feel the same way, here's two possibilities. Reset every day. Every day you do this, every day, reset it. Start fresh. I started that every day. It doesn't matter if the day before I aced it. I thought I trained great. I ate everything I was supposed to eat that day. I did great. See, the next morning I go, okay. Fuck right. Yesterday was silver. I'm going to go gold today. I'm going to start at that. Because the human brain can comprehend that for a day. We struggle to comprehend it when we go, I have to do this for 6 months. Fuck. But give it into reset every day. Every day you'll have a fresh mindset, and just every day you keep going on. The second way is, if you're not happy with yourself, or you think there's so many people better out there than you and you can't really compare it to yourself, do it for someone or something. Do it for your partner. Do it for your future spouse. Do it for your mum and dad to be proud of, your granny, uncle, or something, or for a competition. But do it for something. If you don't want to do it for yourself, or you want to do it for yourself but you just can't really rationalise that in your head, do it for someone else. Make your girlfriend, your wife proud, or make them lust after you even more. That'll give you the fucking motivation. Now, it's discipline is the key here. But if you want that little bit of motivation, that discipline to carry on and think, do you know what, I may not be the best, but I'm going to be the best in the race. I want my girlfriend or my partner or whoever it is, or my kids to look at me and go, fuck that, that's my partner, or that's my dad, or that is my son. Jesus, look at him, fuck. I haven't seen anyone look like that before. I don't know really anyone close to me looks like that. Jesus, he's killing it. He's doing great. You know? See, in their world, you're going to be everything. And that's two possible antidotes. I don't have all the answers here, guys. The reason why I brought this video up is because of the topic I talked with my buddy Sam, but more so for the fact as well is that this is something that's going to hit everyone. The mental side. If it's weight loss or bodybuilding, it's going to hit you. It's going to fucking hit you hard. I just hope that the two antidotes there's no way I'm going to be able to cure the mental side. I don't know if anyone can. But if potentially I've mentioned something here that's fired a neuron in your brain to make you go, do you know what? I could maybe rationalise it a bit better. Or, hey, that's actually giving me a wee bit of a kick up the ass to do it for the next few days at least. My job's done. It's worked. But a lot more is coming, man. And, I'm cutting at the minute. I'm datting down. And every week I can feel it getting even more tough and more strenuous in me. You know? Especially if you don't see the results coming the right way. So be prepared for it. But this is what makes it so fucking good. It's the discipline. It doesn't matter what the actual physical body looks like from it. You can take this into walk of life, and with pride at one point, it doesn't matter if it's 10 years later, you can go, do you know, at one point period in my life, I deprived myself of all the pleasures and the expedient things that everyone is so easily duped by. I fought back. I was like a monk. I fought back at that and went, no, I'm not gonna subdue to those quick eat up pleasures. And I achieved something that was actually quite fucking difficult in this modern age to do. So it was the mental game. It's food for thought anyway. I'll stop talking now because you're probably going to think I'm overstepping my boundaries. Get back to 5 tips a day, yeah. Will do. Cheers, guys.